Hi, everyone. Welcome to Biblio Files, the program on AADL TV, where we spend about 5 minutes each week talking about books. Each episode, we pick a different topic to discuss. And this week's episode is the book that you have given as what's the best book that you've given as a gift. So, Amanda, what is a book that you have given as a gift?
So I love giving books as gifts. I tend to do it more with children than adults, but there's a couple of books that I've randomly given to friends because they're amazing. And one such book is this book, Bowie, A to Z, The Life of an Icon from Aladdin Sane to Ziggy Stardust by Steve Wide, illustrations by Libby Vanderpleg. It is an amazing book. It's actually a series. There's David Bowie. I also have the Prince one, Prince A to Z. And I just looked up, and there are the Beatles A to Z, Freddie Mercury A to Z, and Grace Jones A to Z. And the books are really great. They're great for adults or for kids or anybody who's a fan of these people. But Bowie A to Z, and then here's a page. It's basically the alphabet, and each page focuses on a different letter. Like here for David Bowie, F is for fashion, and then it has some iconic illustrations based on like his wares. And then there's facts and information, and then these little blurbs about different pieces of information. And it's a great way to absorb information. It's a fun way to read a nonfiction book. And I'm a huge Bowie fan, so it was fun hearing some things I knew and things I didn't know, just presented in a different format. And I love the illustrations. They're really, really great. Let me see if I can show you a Prince one. What do I got? All right, here's letter. What is this one? B's for Batman. Well, that's a boring page to show you, but here's B for Batman for Prince. So you get the idea of how the books are done. They're great for gift books. I think like at holiday time, these have to be books that are on like one of the little book stands, like in the front of the store is like a lobby gift giving book. And it's totally the correct purpose because they're great books. So much fun. If you are giving it to a person who is into it or who likes nonfiction or learning about new things or just loves music books in general, highly recommend to look up the books by Steve Wide. Christopher, what book have you given as a gift?
Well, before I answer that, I just wanted to say the illustrations look great. They remind me a lot of Zin Zin Zin, a Violin.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that book.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that style of illustration. But to the point at hand, the book that I've given as a gift, I have given lots of books as gifts, mostly nonfiction, actually. But the one I chose today is this book by Nikki McClure called The First 1,000 Days. And this is a book I've given to people who are having a baby, and I may be giving it again soon. But the book is full of Nikki McClure's beautiful illustrations. I'm not going to show you any from this because it is a full book of writing, but this is another book by Nikki McClure, All in a Day. And her illustrations are so lovely. And the way she illustrates them is by using an X-Acto knife and making a single cut on one piece of paper. So I've always loved her artwork. And this book, The First 1,000 Days, is a wonderful book. Normally, I would imagine a book like that wouldn't be filled in. It's just a gift, and then it gets forgotten on a shelf. But I find it so enticing. It really invites someone to fill it out. At least it did for me. So I really like that book. Lucy?
I like that it's 1,000 days too. Like you get a lot of books for babies that are the first year, and that's just sort of an interesting way to keep it going, and then it maybe becomes more habitual to make little records of what your kid is doing.
Right.
So the book that I have given as a gift is a book called, well, I've given a lot of books as a gift, but one that really stands out is a book called Following Atticus, 48 High Peaks, One Little Dog, and an Extraordinary Friendship by Tom Ryan. And this is a book, a true story about, it's set in the backdrop of the White Mountains in New Hampshire. And the author, Tom Ryan, had a good friend that died of cancer. And in order to pay tribute to her, he and his mini schnauzer, Atticus, climbed all 48 peaks of the White Mountains twice in one winter to raise money for charity. So this is the book about him sort of following Atticus up the mountains. But it's really more about the extraordinary relationship and friendship that you can develop with a dog, and like Atticus, this little mini schnauzer, his perseverance, and it's just a great book. But what I love about it is that I gave it to my father, who lives in New Hampshire, and has a mini schnauzer. I wasn't really making those connections. I just knew he'd love it, and he loved it so much that he has talked about it with everyone and given it as a gift to everyone. So the gift that I gave him became the gift that he gives everyone. And then when I was looking up notes for this yesterday, I noticed that that author has another book about another dog. So then I got that for my dad as well. And so it's sort of like, I love the story in the book, but in my life, I like that I gave a gift to somebody and they loved that book so much that they keep referencing it and keep giving it to other people. So I just think that's a great way to pass along a story. And again, that's Finding Atticus by Tom Ryan. So does anyone have any final thoughts on gift giving through books?
I was just going to say, another great selection of 3 very different books.
Yeah, definitely. Very different. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Biblio Files. I realize I forgot to introduce us in the beginning in my intro. So we are Lucy, Christopher, and Amanda. And we hope that you'll join us next week when we will be discussing a favorite mystery. We love getting comments from you about what you're reading. So please comment below for this episode or other episodes that you've watched, and we will see you next time. Thanks.